I was screaming my head off. My husband took the phone. He found out why I was screaming. And it's just so weird. You hear something like that. It's so crazy, tragic.
Hello! And welcome back to the Croak and Crow podcast. I am your host, Spencer Cartier, with the big old head and biceps.
I thought you were introducing me, and I'm like, the big old head. Okay.
No, I have a big head, guys. It's genetic.
You're introducing yourself.
And so I'm claiming it.
Listen, you should claim it. We should open up a big head store.
Yeah.
Because I wear soft hats.
Plus size hats. As
you know from every podcast we've ever done. Of course you know that a plastic hat might not fit. Your crown might not fit.
Yeah, you know, it's on the very end, this strap.
Did you know that even soft hats don't fit me?
Really? I believe it.
I have to stretch them. I stretch them on a hanger, the bottom of a hanger. Yeah. I am going to buy, I saw a hat stretcher on Amazon. I'm going to buy it. But even for winter hats, I have to stretch them. Yeah,
I mean, I told you guys the football story when I played youth football, and I was pushed to the back of the line because they couldn't find a helmet that fit me.
Right.
Fitted caps, forget about it. I had a guy when I was in theater one year, and he was a big guy, sturdy guy, and I'm, small and slender. And and he was like, when he was getting his hat fitted, he was like, "You've never seen a bigger head than me." And I'm like, weird flex. But okay. And so then I sort of piped up.
Flex
I was
back.
I was like, "Oh, you think you got a big head, guy?" I was like, "I got a bigger head than you." He looks at me. And I think I'm pretty proportionate. At least my mom tells me I am. And he's like, "Yeah, fat chance." We go to the fitting. I beat him by a half inch. So I've yet to find anybody. That's not true. I found one person. But he cheated. This was back when I was younger, because he had a couple of skull surgeries.
Oh my God.
And so I still think, I think in the sports world, that would be performance enhancing drugs. That's a surgery enhanced head.
But interestingly, you say it's genetic.
Yeah.
It is genetic. It's genetic from my side. Mm-hmm. But not my whole family. So you're chewing into the microphone. That's fun. For some people.
And people probably wonder why I'm chewing. Yeah. There's ice in the cup.
Not everybody. So majority, I think it came from my dad. Majority big head family, but like my sister Bridget, small head.
Small head.
Christina, small
Tiny
head. That might be it. But it's still, it's not all of my siblings. It's not a complete.
It's not like a bobblehead family. It's just a few big head.
But when you have it, you have it.
When you got the gift, you got the gift. I always say there's a bigger brain under that skull.
Yeah, let's say that. Let's say
science. Or probably just a thicker. I used to get called cement head.
Well,
by my family. don't think I was bullying from the kids next door. No.
From a big headed family. No, but even in our family, like Pierce doesn't have a big head.
Doesn't. My brother doesn't have a big head. My sister does. She has a big head, but a girl version of a big head. Like, we're all proportionate.
No, none of it is.
You wouldn't know we had big heads until
open up a sideshow.
No, you wouldn't know we have big heads until we put hats on.
Until you bought us a hat.
But that's the problem, and that's why we're going to open a plus size hat store.
Yes. For
the underrepresented big head folk out there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's definitely underrepresented because you can't see it as much. Like. No, or I'm saying like it's a genetic thing. Like your head doesn't grow or shrink.
Oh no.
Your body does.
Yeah.
And so it's like people's bodies change no matter what your genetics, but especially genetics, and so you make clothes accordingly. Mm-hmm. People, how many times have you heard one size fits all? Does it? Does it fit all?
It doesn't. Not even with soft hats.
Not even with soft hats. But moving on, you haven't even introduced yourself.
I'll be Verona.
Verona Big Head.
I'll be Verona Big Head.
This is Frank Tiny Head.
I know.
Look at Frank.
Head. He hardly has anything going on in the back.
Tiny head. No, we love
like
Frank.
Tiny head people.
Yeah. If you have a tiny head, you can still hang out with us. You just can't shop for hats with us. So today's Friday, if you were wondering why we were having so much fun.
Yeah. Fun Friday.
It's fun. Well, it's fun. Fill in the blank Friday, but it's always fun. Getting to the end of April. Sheesh, what day is it now? The 28th? 27th, I believe.
No.
28th.
27th was...
It's the 30th.
It's the 30th?
Yeah, it's the 30th.
Okay. Oh, right, because we were mixed up in the beginning of the week anyway.
This week has not been the greatest for us for dates, but today is the 30th, April 30th.
That means 30th. I missed my mom's birthday.
30 days has September, April. Oh, it's the last day of April. 30 days, So it is quite literally the end of April.
Yeah.
And we're moving into May, my birthday month. Get excited! That was a little soundbite on the local Philadelphia sports radio.
Yeah, it sounded familiar.
I listened to.
It sounded familiar.
I remember I did it before on one of these podcasts, and I looked for the soundbite, but I guess it was a regional clip.
Okay.
That was then always used because couldn't find it. Anywho, it's Friday, end of April. Today's podcast is brought to you by Red Bull, the Red Edition.
Yeah, why was I saying I was going to have Red all month long?
I forget. Do you know that Red Bull is not an American company?
It doesn't seem like it's an American company.
Really?
No.
When I was I told you guys I watched the...
Well, it says California. Oh, no.
It might be... It's
distributed in California.
It's like brought into America. I'm talking about like country of origin.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm watching this Formula One show.
Yeah, we know.
You know, it's it was race to get ahead, whatever it's called, and there's like one American team, and so all the teams, Ferrari's from Italy, Mercedes Germany, Renault France, and so they at their home race, their home Grand Prix, it's always like a celebration.
Okay.
And Red Bulls was in something. It was not some random country. I think it was Austria, but
it says Switzerland on here.
Okay, Switzerland. And it was like, this is Red Bull Racing's home Grand Prix. That's how they said it. Mm. And I'm like, wait, what?
Why did you think it was American?
Because I think everything that's great
all
is
these
from
kind
America.
of extreme sports.
Yeah, just like, obviously, I think they do a lot of stuff marketing-wise in America with all of their events and stuff, because they definitely push into the extreme sports. Once I realized, I was like, yeah, I actually don't know what I was thinking. But, yeah. Swiss or Austrian.
More than just chocolate.
More than just chocolate. So today on this Fun Friday, we're not going to talk about a fun topic, but we're going to talk about an important topic. And
story time. I don't know if it's important.
It's a story time.
If you like story times.
If you like story times, you'll like this topic. If you like story times, listen here. So, on this podcast, we've brought up loss before. We've brought it being a spiritual topic. We talk about living on earth and then going to heaven. And there's that rocky transition that no one likes and it's hard for us to get through, but we use spirituality. So my aunt, your sister,
yes,
passed away when she was young, about my age. And we've brought it up in passing before, but today we're going to have a story time about it to maybe reach out to people who, not reach out, but maybe to just connect to anyone who has gone through a similar situation or any kind of situation involving loss and how you overcame it.
Right.
And just the whole thing packed together in one neat podcast.
Right.
So without further ado, drum roll, please.
And because we are all friends on this podcast.
We're at the lunch table.
We're at the lunch table. And if you're at a lunch table with somebody 4 days a week, which is what Croak and Crow broadcasts. We've been broadcasting since October of last year. And, if somebody keeps I just brought her up a second ago. I said she had a small head. Christina.
Mm.
And I've brought her up just many different times. I'll just refer to Christina. And if you are friends at a lunch table talking all the time, imagine someone's like, who is Christina? Or why did she die? I mean, obviously, I'm a young person, so why would I have a deceased sibling? She was younger than me. So you have a question. So this is a backstory for our Croak and Crow family. So when I do refer to Christina again, you'll know the Christina story.
You will know. You're one step closer. We're one step closer to becoming best friends.
Right. Right.
You know, but like in the beginning, like October, November, we were kind of just like friends. We're like, hey.
I was very in October. I want to erase those early videos.
No, you know, when you first sit down at the lunch table, no, you're not. It's like the first day of school. It's like you'll sit down with people and it's like, oh, hey, what classes are you in? And it's like, then you fast forward 10 years later and then it's like you're walking into their door and saying, I'm home. So
yeah, because in the beginning,
I
was extremely against getting personal with people through the internet.
Yes.
I didn't want them to know my name.
Your middle name.
Any name.
Tell them your middle name.
I don't have a middle name.
You're still Donut, aren't you?
I don't have a middle name.
She really doesn't have a middle name.
My name, where we lived, I didn't even want them to know, like, Pennsylvania.
East Coast. Too much information.
I didn't want them to know anything. And it's become so familiar now. And so.
Now we're just hanging.
So open. All right. So, 11. We're in 11 minutes. And my sister died on the 11th.
Of?
August. My sister died on the 11th of August. And you were born on the 11th of May. And 11 is a very spiritual, holy, magical, special number. So, I feel comforted by that. So let's start back. Story time. How did it start? It started when we were born. She is 2 years behind me. So we were very close. Two little girls growing up, obviously. We were in different grades, but just did everything together and were very close and friendly throughout all of childhood. Then we became teenagers, and we should have been in the same high school together, but I changed high schools. So
you went to girls' high,
right?
And she went to girls' high,
right?
But stayed at girls' high.
She started after I'd left.
Gotcha.
So yes, we both went to the same grade school, but high school was girls' high.
Sorry for saying girls' high. Now they're triangulating East Coast, Philadelphia,
whoever has a pencil
high.
and a pen. So she came to high school when I went to a different high school. So there was that, but still, so Christina is my sister. We're close in age and we're closely connected. Not just because you're a sibling and just because you're close in age doesn't mean you're close, but we were. Okay, so in 1994-3, that's when I started to go to Trinidad. And so there was a physical distance between us. The Trinidad story will be a different story time.
Didn't we? Oh, like a story time Trinidad.
Yeah, a story time. So anyway, so she's in Philadelphia and I'm in Trinidad. And so there's that physical distance. And also around this time, in 1993, I'm 23. 94, I'm 24. 95, I'm 25.
Easy to keep track of.
Yeah. So I am starting a family. I had my twins in January of 1995. And she's 2 years behind. So like 2.5 years. So she's living her young, single, Philadelphia, East Coast, party girl, college girl. I mentioned in a different podcast that she went to the College of Textiles and Science, which is now
Philadelphia University.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What was the Jefferson connection?
Philadelphia University and Jefferson connected. Merged.
To become, okay. So we did, we talked about her. So she was going there. She was in college. She was single and young. Her, and I was married, had the twins, still very close, but we weren't clubbing together.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was good and fine. I had my baby twins. You can imagine, as a 22-year-old aunt, she was so in love with her baby twins, her nephews. And so that was the way that was going. And then, so we're going to come around to the summer So they're born in January, but we come to the summer. And she's going down the shore where we live. We live close to the shore, and that's where you socialize in the summer on weekends, or you live down there. She was living down there. She was living in Sea Isle City, and she was working at like a children's camp or something like that. And that's what you do, and that's super fun. It's a goal.
I live down.
You
the
did
shore.
it, yeah. It's a real goal, and I'm trying to think of everything. Okay. I feel like she was living down there, but then she wasn't. Don't quote me on any of this because it was 25 years ago.
Who's going to quote you?
I don't know.
Your siblings.
Because I have people watching who know the story really, really well. Okay. So, and they'll be like, she wasn't working at that time, because this is the thing why I'm thinking, was she working? This is the thing. It was a Wednesday night up in my apartment up here, not down the shore. And okay, so your father's birthday was August 8th.
Yes.
And so on August 8th, she and my mom came to my apartment and they brought him birthday stuff. Mm-hmm. So they came to my apartment and they brought birthday stuff. And she was seeing the babies, and we were having a lovely little visit. Then that's what I'm saying. Was she living down there? Because she said, I'm going down the shore this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know. She might have just come up. I can't remember.
I mean, I don't know the exact, but I mean, when I lived down the shore, I was up.
It's so simple. It's like some people commute to work every day, you know. So she said, I'm going down the shore. Now, I had just watched the news. I was just as nervous and anxiety ridden then as I am now. I had just watched the news, and they were saying there was a lot of riptides in the ocean this summer. A lot of hurricanes had happened, and the reason it was on the news was because some people had already drowned. And they said that, and I was learning, like, I didn't know what a riptide was. And if they say a hurricane, you're like, okay, don't go out in a hurricane. You don't realize that when there is no hurricane, there's no wind, there's no rain, there's nothing, the ocean is still turned up.
Yeah.
And it's still, you know, all spinning and everything, and sucking and pulling and really making it hard for people, even strong swimmers, okay? Yeah. Which my sister was not. So I told her, Christina, I just saw on the news, the ocean's bad, don't go in the water, you know, because riptide. And she's like, I don't. I said, well, if you do, like, they were giving you tips to swim sideways and stuff like that. She said, I don't go in the water. I didn't think again of it, blah, blah, blah. So they left, and that was Wednesday. And then I'm sure I saw her Thursday, Friday. I don't know, but that just sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
So then this is hearsay because I wasn't there. She was down the shore. She went down. You know, it wasn't the weekend. She was going right away. Because it wasn't the weekend because she went Thursday, you know. Yeah. If I saw her Wednesday, then 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know what it was, but she went down the shore before the weekend. Thursday. She goes down the shore, acts like a 22-year-old, goes out with all her friends. There was a lot of girls who lived in the house that she lived in. If this wasn't off the cuff, I would like rewind and edit, because she did have a house, because she was living in a house with all these girls. So she went down the shore. She went out with everybody that night. And like I said, I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. But she ended up on the beach when there was no lifeguard, as I've done a million times.
At night.
And she, from what the messages that came back to me, she went in the water. She didn't come out of the water. People panicked, XYZ. People ran for help on the boardwalk. And thank God she, I'm not going to say thank God she died at all. I'm saying thank God she came right back in, dead, but she was not lost at sea for any amount of time. So a lot of people, we live near a beach, and we hear of people drowning, and it sometimes takes days or weeks to find the body. She had come right back in. She had died. So again, hearsay. I don't have the information of how, but I've heard that the police, New Jersey police contacted Philadelphia police. Philadelphia police knocked on my parents' door, and the people who were there, my brother, I believe, they had to be alerted by the police. So now we're back to my experience. My experience is that my sister-in-law called me. She was completely shooken up and shocked. So she just said to me, "Did you hear Christina drowned?" That's how. It's such a, there's no, it's kind of better than like sit down, argue with somebody, but it was also like, you know, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I started screaming, and I live in an apartment building, you know, and I just started screaming. Nobody cared. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody came.
It's Philadelphia.
Yeah. No one cared. I was screaming my head off. My husband took the phone. He found out why I was screaming. And it's just so weird. You hear something like that. It's so crazy, tragic, and final. But after you hear it, because it's not like there's been an accident, get down to Jersey, you know.
Yeah, get to the hospital.
She's on a ventilator. It was like she's dead.
Yeah.
So, okay, you know, so then my husband was like, okay, we're going to go to your mom's house. You know, like we just started moving forward. Like, and I had baby twins. The twins were 8 months old. And it's like, I'm like, I have to stop at the supermarket because I had to get like formula. And like, it was very, very odd, very much in shock. But she drowned very quickly. Thank God, like I said, she wasn't, she hadn't spent any long time in the water. So she wasn't like, nothing had happened. God received her into heaven, and that is how she died. That's how I found out she died. And then like I said, there's so many branches. You know, if you talk about it, but as you can imagine, it was extremely traumatizing. Yeah.
Now, obviously, we don't have all the time in the world on this podcast, which we can go as long as we want, but if we're going to go in one direction, I would say, so that was the event, and obviously this is a spiritual podcast,
right?
So if for the last 10 minutes you want to just touch on spirituality, because I know with any traumatic events or loss, a lot of people get pulled further away from God. It's like being like a 22-year-old girl who's taken suddenly by a natural event.
Right.
Like a riptide is not, it was a madman.
Right.
I know it can pull a lot of people, and a lot of people have said, well, no God would let that happen. So
right.
Your spirituality following that, if you just wanted to touch on that.
Okay. So it is interesting that you brought up that it was a natural event, because I do see, and I have seen all these years, when someone does die in a murder, or even if they die in an accident that could have been prevented, like, oh, the rail on that patio was loose, and they kind of transform their grief into making, I want all the rails to be stronger, or getting that man off the street or whatever. Yeah. But ours was like, it was natural, number one. Number two, she wasn't supposed to be on the beach, because once the lifeguards are gone at this particular beach, you're not supposed to be there. So you're just kind of like, oh. And I totally understand also what you're saying about people who turn away, because we had a friend at the time who had lost their son to drowning like a couple years before that. And I know that his father was very, very angry at God and very mad when people would say, God needed another angel. Yeah. It was like, oh, I needed my son. So, you know, thankfully, I don't know why, but I didn't turn against God at all. Mm-hmm. I was already pretty close to God in a relationship. So thankfully it helped me. Like the minute I heard it, it helped me. Yeah. And sometimes I wonder how people can get through it without spirituality. Because so after she died, I tried to I wanted to go into grief counseling. I wanted to help other, because I thought, okay, now I know exactly what these people are feeling.
Yeah.
And whenever I would go to conferences or seminars about grief counseling, my go-to was always like, well, they're in heaven.
They're in a better place.
Yeah, they were born protected, and they've always been protected. And I never did, sorry to say, but it's been all this time, and I never did figure out how to comfort someone who doesn't believe in heaven.
Yeah.
About losing somebody. My mom did not do well at all with it, yet she didn't lose her spirituality. And on her deathbed, I said to her, because she was in hospice, so she knew she was going to die. She died exactly 5 years after my sister. I said, can you tell me, you lived your life. It was a short life because my mom was only 60, but can you tell me something that your final, what you've, concentrated it down to, of what you think is the most important thing you can tell me before you go to heaven? Yeah. And she said, put God first. And this was a woman who, like I said, she cried every single solitary day for my sister.
Yeah.
And yet, she still said that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm a helpful person. I mean, I could do the story time, but I don't know if I'm a helpful person to tell, like, if you want me to say what's the magic or what's.
No, I was just, because it's in these things too, it's so personal. It's personal of what got you through, what got someone else through. But so what you're saying is, did you leaned on the fact of spirituality?
Absolutely.
You leaned on the fact of God. And that is one of the comforting things of the deeper you get into learning about faith. And we always say, like, it's part of this armor of God thing that I say. And if you are already a spiritual person, it's important to always train yourself, because you, lucky, I mean, you went to school, like, and had religion in your life from the get. But a lot of people are sort of on the fence. And when such a traumatic thing happens, it really puts your faith to the test. And there's going to be times in all of our lives where our faith is really slammed to the test. And it can be the saving grace of you going forward, so long as it's sturdy, its foundation is sturdy enough to get you through. No,
that's really, really good. It's like going to the gym every day.
Yeah.
So your muscles were strong enough when
a car was on a dog and you had to lift it off.
Yeah, I was gonna say some sandbags for a flood, but
yeah, that's what I meant.
Car and flood. Yeah. Did I know my whole life that I was getting prepared to lose a 20-year-old sister? No. But it did happen. And guess what? When it happened, as spiritual as I was, as a believer as I was, as happy as I was that she was in heaven she was happier, than we were. It was horrifying for me. So
yeah.
From people like, oh, like I have spirituality, so my sister died and she's no, I was torn apart.
Yeah.
I was unhappy. I felt so many, I mean, this isn't therapy, but like I felt so much guilt of like, did I give her a bad example, or was I not nice enough to her? And before I knew it was my last time talking to her. So it didn't make it.
No. Yeah. And I think that's an important distinction. Yeah. It's like there is nothing, like, we can talk as Christians of knowing, or it's anyone spiritual, knowing there's an afterlife, knowing all these things. But I mean, you said it best about your mother. It was 5 years. May very well be the broken heart and the stress of losing a daughter, which caused her early passing.
Right.
But, and then there's no taking away from that. And that's what she said. Just put God first, and it doesn't make things. It doesn't fix things.
No.
But it's just another shoulder. Like like when you. It makes you feel less alone.
Yeah.
And that's important. I was talking to someone about grief, who this guy lost both their sons both from suicide only a few years after each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, the best, like, people would all come to the house, and he was like, he didn't like, people were coming up to talk to him, and he was like, he didn't want to hear anything. He didn't want what you were saying. He was the minister. He didn't want to hear about where the people are.
No.
Yada yada. He was like, his favorite people are where there was this one guy in particular. He came in, he sat in the living room, and he just sat there for hours, didn't say another word. And it's sort of like that is that comfort that he was just like, there's just another person here who's not. And that is sort of what you get from spirituality. Was this man still breaking down? Were you still distraught probably for years? But it's nice to have that another person in the room, just with you, being like, I'm here for you.
That's so true, because there is nothing you can say.
Yeah.
Because it was naive of me when I said, oh, I bet I'll be a good grief counselor because I've now experienced what they've experienced. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say to somebody who's lost somebody that they'll say, oh, there's no cure. There's no, I tried so many, especially to cheer up my mom. I tried so many books, seminars, tapes, videos, therapies, distractions, meditations. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So, there's this, Footprints in the Sand.
No.
Oh, it's this famous poem. My mom loved it, and she loved it even before my sister died. And it's, I was walking on the beach. With Jesus, and I looked back, and I saw, and he said, "That's your life." And there was two sets of footprints the whole time, and then sometimes there was just one. And he said, why is there, the person said to Jesus, why sometimes is there just one? And he said, that's when I carried you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good poem, a good story.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and it's the truth. It's the idea of leaning on, and even like times will get tough, but faith helps.
Yeah.
Having people around you, I'm sure your family and friends just being there for you.
The other saving grace, saving grace, thank you, Jesus, was my baby twins.
Oh.
First. Because I had to be busy. Why? You took a while to get born.
Yeah.
I had them talk about, sorry, girl, you got to act normal now. You got to just, the babies don't have 8-month-old babies don't know that your sister died.
Yeah.
And then you were born with less than a year.
Yeah.
And so then I had 3 baby boys. Thank you, God, for the timing of that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, because you obviously said there's nothing that can be done. There's nothing that can be done.
Right.
Which, if someone is going through something right now,
keep walking.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's and it's just like that poem that you were saying is. Don't think, okay, well, it's hopeless. Nothing. Right. It's just, you just got to keep on trudging.
Keep walking.
Crying while you're walking, but one foot in front of the other. And time heals all, not fully healed. It'll still be a scar, but it will heal the open wound.
Yes. That's the story.
That's story time. That is Fun Friday.
It is. It
is Fun Friday.
It's Hopeful Friday.
It's Faithful Friday.
Faithful Friday.
But yeah, so that's our lunch table. Now,
and that's why I say, wear a life jacket. Don't swim alone.
I have a really expensive life jacket.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite purchases. It looks really good. Maybe I'll send you guys a picture.
Yeah.
It's been real and it's been fun. And hey, even though you're not a licensed grief counselor anymore. Right. Well, you're still licensed, but you're no longer practicing. Right. This is your full-time job. If anyone needs a person to talk to, you're there for them.
Yes.
Frank's there for you.
Always.
And I'm here too. Peace.
Thank you.